The ruins of Godric's Hollow smolder in the darkness. Rubeus Hagrid, half-giant gamekeeper of Hogwarts, stands among the wreckage of the Potter house, cradling a bundle wrapped in blankets. Baby Harry Potter, 15 months old, lightning bolt scar fresh on his forehead, sleeps against Hagrid's massive chest. Hagrid's tears fall freely as he surveys the destruction. James and Lily Potter, dead. Voldemort, gone but not destroyed. And this child, this impossibly small child, has survived the killing curse. "Come on, Harry," Hagrid whispers, voice breaking. "Gotta get you safe." He climbs onto Sirius Black's flying motorcycle, borrowed under circumstances he doesn't fully understand yet, and takes to the sky. The journey to Surrey takes hours. Hagrid doesn't mind. Every moment holding Harry feels precious, sacred even. When he lands on Privet Drive at midnight, Professor McGonagall is waiting in cat form near the garden hedge of number 4. She transforms back, lips pressed thin with disapproval. "Hagrid, you're late." "Sorry, Professor. Had ter stop a few times. Couldn't help meself." Hagrid wipes his eyes with his free hand, the other cradling Harry protectively. "Where is Albus?" "Said he'd meet us here." "These are the Muggles, then." "The aunt?" "And Vernon Dursley." She stops, shaking her head. This is a bad idea. Before Hagrid can respond, Albus Dumbledore appears via apparition, wearing midnight blue robes embroidered with stars. His face carries profound sadness. "Hagrid, Minerva. The child is well?" "Perfect, sir," Hagrid says, looking down at Harry's sleeping face. "Hasn't cried once. Been peaceful as anything." His fingers trace the lightning bolt scar. Remarkable. Lily's protection worked. The curse rebounded. But at such a cost. He moves toward the front door of number 4. The blood wards will activate when Petunia accepts him. They will keep him safe from Voldemort's followers until he comes of age. McGonagall steps forward, voice sharp. "Albus, I must protest. I have watched these people. They are not suitable, but there is no safer place. Lily's sacrifice created magic older and stronger than anything Voldemort comprehends. As long as Harry can call this place home, it'll never be home." Hagrid's voice cuts through the night, quiet but absolute. "Not with them people. Hagrid, I seen him, sir. When I collected Harry from his primary school letter delivery, the hut on the rock, remember? Dragged that poor boy across the country to escape magic. Called Lily a freak. Called her whole world a freak show." Hagrid's grip on Harry tightens protectively. "These ain't people who love him, and without love, what's the point of blood? The magic requires blood relation. Then make it work different." Hagrid's eyes meet Dumbledore's, and for once, the gentle giant isn't backing down. "You've got more magical knowledge than anyone alive. You can work out something else. But I ain't handing this child to people who'll make him feel unwanted." Then he looks at Harry, still peaceful in the gamekeeper's arms, and something shifts in his expression. "You would take responsibility for him? Raise him yourself?" "Yes, sir. At me hut. He'd be safe there. Hogwarts wards protect the grounds, don't they? And I'd guard him with me life." "Hagrid, you're not qualified to raise a child. With respect, Professor McGonagall, who is? I love him already. That's gotta count for something." Dumbledore is silent, considering. His eyes drift to the Dursley house, dark, unwelcoming, hostile to everything Harry represents. Then back to Hagrid, who cradles the child like precious glass. "The blood protection," Dumbledore says slowly, thinking aloud. "It's anchored in Lily's sacrifice, which lives in Harry's blood regardless of where he resides. If we could weave that protection into Hogwarts' existing wards." "Can it be done?" McGonagall asks. "Theoretically. The castle's protections are among the oldest and most powerful in Britain. If I bound Lily's sacrifice to the grounds themselves, made Hogwarts Harry's home in the truest magical sense, Dumbledore's wand appears in his hand. It would require a guardian oath. Blood and magic intertwined. Hagrid, are you certain that I've ever been bout anything? But understand, this is uncharted magic. You will be bound to protect him not just by choice, but by vow. Breaking it would destroy you." "Don't plan on breaking it, sir. They apparate directly to Hogwarts. Side along for Hagrid and Harry." The castle looms above them, ancient and powerful. Hagrid's hut sits at the forest's edge, small and rough but warm with firelight from within. Dumbledore begins the ritual in the clearing outside the hut. He draws runes in the earth with his wand, each symbol glowing faintly silver. McGonagall assists, her expression still skeptical but cooperative. "Place him in the center," Dumbledore instructs. Hagrid sets Harry gently on a blanket in the middle of the rune circle. The baby stirs, but doesn't wake. Your wand, Hagrid. Got me umbrella, though. Hagrid produces the pink umbrella, his broken school wand hidden inside, still holding fragments of its original power. That will suffice. Plant it in the earth beside him. Hagrid does. The umbrella stands like a tiny staff, pink fabric incongruous against the solemn magic building around them. Now, the oath. Repeat after me. I, Rubeus Hagrid, keeper of keys and grounds of Hogwarts, do swear by blood and earth to stand as shield and staff to Harry James Potter. Hagrid repeats the words, voice steady despite his tears. To guard him from darkness, to teach him strength, to be unto him as family, though we share no blood. The words flow from Hagrid with absolute conviction. This I vow, by my life and magic, until the stars fall and the earth sleeps. As Hagrid speaks the final phrase, the runes flare brilliant white. Light races outward from the circle, sinking into the ground, racing toward the castle, weaving through the existing wards like golden thread through ancient tapestry. Hagrid gasps as something pulls at his core. Not painful, but profound. His giant blood, his magic, his very essence binding to the oath. When the light fades, Harry is glowing faintly. Not with the killing curse's residue, but with new protection. Lily's love, Hagrid's vow, and Hogwarts' ancient power merged into something unprecedented. It's done, Dumbledore says quietly. Harry is now under the protection of Hogwarts itself. The wards recognize him as family to these grounds. And you, Hagrid, are bound as his guardian in every sense that matters. Hagrid picks up Harry, who wakes and looks at him with Lily's green eyes. The baby reaches up and grabs Hagrid's beard, giggling. "Hello there, Harry," Hagrid whispers. "Welcome home." McGonagall wipes her eyes. "You'll need supplies, a proper crib, clothes, food suitable for an infant. I'll manage, Professor. Always wanted a family. Now I got one." They help him prepare. McGonagall transfigures furniture in the hut. Hagrid's rough table becomes a sturdy crib of ironwood, padded with dragon hide for durability and warmth. She creates blankets that regulate temperature, a mobile of wooden birds that sing soft lullabies. Dumbledore establishes additional protections around the hut. The standard Hogwarts wards now extend here with particular strength, but will add layers, muggle-repelling charms, anti-apparition jinxes, and something more specific to the forest. He waves his wand in complex patterns. They will discourage the forest's apex predators, acromantulas, werewolves, certain breeds of giants, from approaching too closely. But they won't block benign creatures. Unicorns, hippogriffs, thestrals, they can pass freely. "Won't that confuse the animals?" McGonagall asks. "Think of it as a scent marker," Dumbledore explains. "To dangerous predators, this clearing will register as claimed territory. A larger predator's den, they'll instinctively avoid it." Hagrid nods, understanding. "Like when I stake out hippogriff nesting grounds, put up markers so other predators know it's occupied." By dawn, the hut is transformed, still rough and simple, but safe, a home. As the sun rises, Dumbledore and McGonagall prepare to leave. "You'll need to register this with the Ministry," McGonagall says. "They'll have questions," Dumbledore replies. "I am Chief Warlock. I will register Harry as a ward of Hogwarts under sealed records. The details are not the Ministry's concern. Raising a child never is. But I believe you will give Harry something more valuable than safety. You'll give him love. That's what Lily died to provide. Don't let her sacrifice be wasted." They leave. Hagrid stands alone in the doorway of his hut, Harry asleep against his chest, and watches the sun rise over the forbidden forest. Fang, his boarhound, pads over and sniffs Harry curiously. The baby giggles again, reaching for the dog's wet nose. "That's Fang," Hagrid tells Harry. "He's your brother now. And this," he gestures to the forest, the castle, the grounds, "this is your home, your real home, where you belong." He settles into his massive armchair with Harry and begins the first of many nights rocking the child to sleep, humming old giant lullabies his mother sang, while Fang snores on the hearthrug and the forest rustles its approval outside the windows. The boy who lived will grow up wild, but he'll grow up loved. That's what matters. Harry's first word is Fang. His second is tree. His third is more, usually shouted while pointing at whatever food Hagrid is cooking. By age 2, Harry toddles between the hut and the forest edge with confidence most toddlers reserve for their own living rooms. Hagrid watches constantly, But Harry's accidental magic makes him safer than any normal child would be. Branches seem to bend away from his head, roots never trip his feet, even the undergrowth parts slightly as he moves through it. He bends the paths, a centaur named Ronan observes one evening, watching from the tree line. The forest recognizes him. He's Hagrid's boy, another centaur. Bane replies with disapproval. Human, not of the forest. The stars say otherwise. Mars is bright tonight. This child is marked by prophecy. They argue in low voices, but they don't interfere. Hagrid has lived on the forest's edge for decades. They've reached an understanding. He doesn't hunt their territory, and they don't threaten the castle's borders. The child is an anomaly, but not yet a danger. Harry's accidental magic expresses differently than most wizarding children. When he's frightened, small animals gather near the hut. Rabbits, squirrels, even a young fox once, as if drawn to protect him. When he cries, birds flock to the windows and sing until he calms. When he laughs, flowers in Hagrid's rough garden bloom out of season. Hagrid teaches him gently. That's your magic, Harry. It's special, but you gotta be careful. Magic's powerful. It can help or hurt, depending on how you use it. I don't use it, it just happens. I know, that's accidental magic. All young wizards and witches do it. But yours is different. Yours talks to the forest, the animals, the growing things. That's rare, Harry. Very rare. Good rare or bad rare? Good rare means yay, got a gift. We'll nurture it proper. By age 3, Harry can stand perfectly still and have deer approach to eat from his hands. He learns their body language, how to move slowly, how to project calm, how to show he means no harm. Hagrid teaches him the names of creatures. That's a hippogriff. See how she's watching us? Gotta bow first. Show respect. Never approach without permission. Harry bows carefully, mimicking Hagrid's movements. The hippogriff, a magnificent creature with an eagle's head and a horse's body, watches him with intelligent orange eyes. After a long moment, she bows back. Good. Now Ye can approach. But slow. Always slow. Harry walks forward until he can touch her beak. She allows it, and Harry giggles with delight. She likes you, Hagrid says, beaming with pride. Animals know who terror trust. Your mother had that gift too. Lily could charm any creature she met. Harry learns that hippogriffs are proud, that unicorns only approach the pure of heart, that bowtruckles guard their trees fiercely and will stab intruders with sharp fingers, that acromantulas are intelligent but dangerous, and he must never wander toward Argog's colony without Hagrid. The hut becomes a classroom. Hagrid can't teach complex spells. His own education stopped at 3rd year when he was expelled, and his wand is broken, hidden in that pink umbrella. But he can teach respect, observation, and practical magic. Magic ain't just wands and spells, Hagrid explains when Harry is 4. That's one way to do it, sure. But there's older ways. The way giants do magic, through strength and will. The way centaurs do it, through stars and prophecy. The way the forest does it, through life and growth. Which way is best? None of them. They're all magic. You just gotta find your own way. How to start a fire with focused intent, and the umbrella as a focus. How to mend a broken fence post with a tap and a whispered request to the wood to hold together just a bit longer. How to call light from fireflies instead of casting lumos. Cup your hands like this. Now think warm thoughts, happy thoughts. The fireflies like warmth. Harry concentrates. His small hands glow faintly with body heat amplified by magic. Within moments, 3 fireflies land in his palms, their abdomens glowing bright green. Perfect. See? Ya didn't need a spell. Ya just asked, and they answered. Will I learn wand spells at Hogwarts? Course ya will. But knowin' this way too? That makes ye stronger, more flexible. Can't always rely on a wand, Harry. Sometimes your wand breaks or gets taken, or you need to be subtle. This kind of magic, the old kind, it don't look like magic to most folks. That can be useful. Winter comes, snow blankets the forest. Harry, now 4 years old, watches from the window as a storm rages outside. Can we go out? Too dangerous, storm's fierce. But the unicorns, they'll be cold. They've got thick coats. They'll be fine. Harry presses his hand to the window, watching the snow swirl. Then he closes his eyes and thinks very hard about warmth, about safety, about the unicorns he's met and fed and loved. His magic pulses outward, not dramatic, not explosive, just a gentle wave of warmth that radiates from the hut into the surrounding area. In the forest, a small herd of unicorns feels it. They lift their heads, silver manes catching moonlight through the storm clouds. As one, they move toward the hut. Drawn by the child's unconscious invitation, Hagrid sees them gathering near his fence line. Well, would ye look at that? Because ye called him, not with words, but with your heart. That's powerful magic, Harry. Don't ever let anyone tell you different. They go outside. Hagrid bundled in his moleskin coat, Harry in layers of transfigured warm clothes, and feed the unicorns enchanted apples from Hogsmeade. The creatures accept the food gratefully, their presence a blessing in the winter night. One unicorn, a young mare with a particularly bright coat, rests her muzzle on Harry's head, as if bestowing approval. She's marked yay, Hagrid whispers. Unicorns only do that for the pure of heart. Your mum would be so proud. By age 5, Harry's world is the forest and the hut and the creatures within them. He's never been to Hogsmeade or Diagon Alley. He's never met another child. But he's not lonely. He has Fang, who sleeps at the foot of his bed and follows him everywhere. He has the hippogriffs Hagrid tends in a paddock near the hut. He has the unicorns who visit regularly. He has owls and rabbits and foxes and deer. And he has Hagrid, father in every way that matters, teaching him to be strong and kind and respectful of all living things. You're going to Hogwarts someday, Hagrid tells him one evening as they sit by the fire. You'll learn proper magic, make friends, have adventures. Will you still be my dad? Hagrid's eyes fill with tears. Always, Harry, always, but you'll have to learn to live with other people too, not just me and the creatures. That'll be hard at first. Why? Because you're different. Ye grew up here, wild and free. Other kids grew up in houses with rules and walls. They won't understand the forest like ye do. Won't know how to talk to hippogriffs or when to bow to centaurs. You'll seem strange to them. Is strange bad? No. Strange is just different, and different can be wonderful. But it can also be lonely until ye find your people. Harry thinks about this. Will I find my people? I believe ye will. The right people always recognize each other eventually. Though neither of them knows it yet, Harry's people include a brilliant girl with bushy hair and an insatiable curiosity about the natural world. But that's still years away. For now, Harry is 5 years old, safe, and loved. He falls asleep each night in his dragonhide cot, Fang snoring beside him, the sounds of the forest rustling outside, and Hagrid's huge presence a constant comfort below in the main room. The boy who lived is growing up exactly as he should, wild, strong, and free. Hermione Jean Granger is 7 years old when her accidental magic becomes impossible to ignore. She's always been different, brilliant beyond her years, reading at a level that concerns her teachers, not because she's struggling, but because she's too advanced. Her parents, both dentists, both Muggle, both loving but occasionally bewildered by their extraordinary daughter, have noticed strange things. Books float to Hermione's hands when she wants them. Her hair changes color when she's upset. Just slightly temporary streaks of auburn or gold. Once, when a bully pushed her at school, every door in the building slammed shut simultaneously. But the incident that brings her to Hagrid's attention happens in a Muggle botanical garden near London. Hermione is on a school field trip. While other children run between exhibits making noise, Hermione wanders alone through the tropical conservatory, fascinated by the variety of plant life. She stops in front of a rare orchid display. The placard explains that the particular species only blooms once every 7 years under precise conditions. "Hello," Hermione whispers to the orchids. "You're very beautiful." The nearest orchid shifts slightly toward her voice. Hermione gasps, "Did you hear me?" She reaches out carefully, not quite touching, but projecting. What? Curiosity? Warmth? She doesn't know. She just feels drawn to communicate. The orchid blooms, not the slow unfurling that takes hours in nature. Instant. One moment closed bud, the next full magnificent flower. Then the one beside it blooms. Then another. Within 30 seconds, every orchid in the display has burst into flower, filling the conservatory with color and scent. Hermione stumbles backward, heart racing. I don't. How did these aren't supposed to? Other students gather, pointing and talking. Hermione's teacher tries to shoo everyone away, but the damage is done. Too many witnesses. That night, the Grangers receive an urgent letter on cream-colored parchment sealed with a wax emblem. A lion, a snake, a badger, and an eagle surrounding a large H. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Granger, your daughter has been flagged by the Ministry of Magic's Underage Magic Office for an incident of uncontrolled magical activity in a public Muggle space. We request a meeting to discuss Hermione's abilities and her future education at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. We will send a representative to your home tomorrow at 10 a.m. Please do not be alarmed. Your daughter is not in trouble. Quite the opposite. She is gifted. Sincerely, Minerva McGonagall, Deputy Headmistress, Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. The Grangers sit in stunned silence. Magic? Helen Granger says finally. Our daughter has magic. It would explain a lot, David admits. The floating books, the doors. That time every plant in our garden grew 3 feet overnight after she had a nightmare. What do? We meet with them, hear what they have to say, and we protect Hermione. Whatever this is, whatever it means, she's still our daughter. The next morning, there's a knock at exactly 10 a.m. The Grangers expect Professor McGonagall. They get Rubeus Hagrid. He fills their doorway, literally has to duck and turn sideways to fit through, holding a pink umbrella and wearing a moleskin coat despite the summer heat. Behind him, partially hidden by his bulk, is a small boy with messy black hair, bright green eyes, and glasses held together with spellotape. Mr. and Mrs. Granger? Hagrid's voice is gentle despite his size. I'm Rubeus Hagrid, keeper of keys and grounds at Hogwarts. This here's Harry. Professor McGonagall sent me to talk about your daughter. David recovers first. Please come in, or can you come in? I'll manage. Hagrid squeezes through carefully, followed by Harry, who looks around the neat Muggle home with obvious curiosity. They settle in the living room, Hagrid on a reinforced chair that creaks ominously, Harry perched beside him, the Grangers on the sofa looking like they've stumbled into a fairy tale. Where's Hermione? Hagrid asks. Upstairs, reading. She's been upset since yesterday, worried she did something wrong. She's got magic is all, powerful magic from what the Ministry says. The orchid incident wasn't just accidental. It was controlled, focused. That's rare in a child her age. Is she, Helen hesitates, is she in danger? But uncontrolled magic in a child can be unpredictable. Usually we wait till kids are 11 to explain the wizarding world. But in special cases, when the magic's particularly strong or the child's particularly stressed, we intervene early. What does intervention mean? David asks carefully. It means education, guidance, helping her understand what she can do so she don't hurt herself or others by accident. Professor Dumbledore, he's headmaster at Hogwarts. He thought I might be the right person to talk to Hermione. Why you specifically? Because I raise creatures, and because I'm raising Harry here who's got similar magic. Wild magic, we call it sometimes. Magic that talks to growing things, to animals, to the natural world. It's different from book learning and wand waving, more instinctive. Harry has magic too? Helen asks, looking at the small boy. Harry nods shyly. I can talk to animals, sort of, and make things grow sometimes, Hagrid teaches me. Can we meet Hermione? Hagrid asks. I'd like to explain things to her direct. Kids usually handle it better when they're honest. She returns minutes later with Hermione, who's clutching a book about tropical plants and looking both terrified and defiant. These people are here about the orchids? Hermione asks immediately. Yes, David says, but you're not in trouble, they want to help. Hermione looks at Hagrid, then at Harry. You're very tall. Hagrid laughs. I'm part giant, makes me bigger than most folks. Giants are real. So are dragons, and unicorns, and hippogriffs, and centaurs, and hundreds of other creatures you've probably read about in storybooks, thinking they were made up. Hermione's eyes go wide. They're real? All of them. Most of them. And you, Hermione, have the gift to interact with them. The magic Ye did yesterday, making those orchids bloom. That's wild magic. Nature magic. It's powerful and it's good, but you need to learn to control it. How? By studying, by practicing, and by spending time around magical creatures and plants so you can feel how your magic affects them. Hagrid leans forward. I got a proposition for your parents. With their permission, Ye could spend time at Hogwarts, not as a full student yet, you're too young, but as an apprentice, learning about magical creatures, helping me care for them, discovering what your magic can do in a safe environment. Like an internship, Hermione asks. Exactly like that. When? Maybe some weekends. You'd still live here, still go to your Muggle school, but you'd have a place to learn about magic proper. Hermione turns to her parents. Can I? Please. The Grangers are overwhelmed, but they see the hope in their daughter's face, the first genuine excitement she's shown about anything social in years. We'd want to see this place, Helen says. Hogwarts, before we agree. Course, I can take ye there now, if ye like. Show ye the grounds, the creatures where Hermione would be learnin'. They agree. Hagrid produces a small pouch of flue powder. This'll be your first bit of magic. Don't worry, perfectly safe. Just step in the fireplace, throw this powder, and say Hogwarts grounds. The journey is disorienting, spinning through green flames, but they emerge intact in Dumbledore's office. The headmaster greets them warmly, explains the basics of the wizarding world, and gives them a brief tour. But the moment that seals Hermione's fate happens when they reach Hagrid's hut. She sees the forest. She sees the hippogriff paddock, the creatures Hagrid tends, the wild beauty of it all. And something in her settles, recognizes this place as somewhere she belongs. Harry, who's been quiet during most of the visit, approaches Hermione as she stares at the tree line. Do you like it here? Hermione struggles for words. It's perfect. Want to meet a hippogriff? A magnificent hippogriff, the same one that bowed to him years ago, watches their approach. You have to bow first, Harry explains. Show respect. Wait for her to bow back before you approach. Hermione bows carefully, mimicking his posture. The hippogriff considers her with intelligent eyes, then bows. Hermione gasps. She accepted me. Hermione approaches slowly, reaching out to touch the hippogriff's beak. The creature allows it, and Hermione laughs, pure, delighted sound. Watching from the hut, Hagrid smiles. She's a natural. You think she'll accept? McGonagall asks. She's accompanied them from the castle. Look at her. She's already home. The Grangers watch their daughter interact with a magical creature with more confidence than she's ever shown around human children, and they make their decision. She can stay, David says. Summers, weekends, whatever works. This is good for her. We'll take care of her, Hagrid promises. She'll be safe here, and she'll learn things that'll help her when she goes to Hogwarts proper at 11. Hermione returns to the hut, face flushed with excitement. Mum, Dad, can I really stay here sometimes? Yes, Helen says, hugging her daughter. If you want to. More than anything. Hermione's first extended stay begins that summer. 2 weeks living in Hagrid's hut, sleeping on a transfigured cot beside Harry's, learning the names of plants and creatures, discovering that her magic responds to living things the way Harry's does. She fills notebooks with observations, draws detailed sketches of bowtruckles and hippogriffs, memorizes the star patterns the Centaurs use to navigate. But most importantly, she makes her first real friend. Harry and Hermione, 7 and 5 years old respectively, become inseparable. They explore the forest's edge together, always within Hagrid's sight. They practice calling fireflies at dusk. They feed unicorns and learn to recognize individual hippogriffs by their markings. You're different from other kids, Hermione tells Harry one evening, as they sit outside the hut watching the stars. So are you. I like being different here. At my old school, different meant lonely. Here it just means special. You are special. You made orchids bloom. That's amazing. You can talk to animals. That's amazing too. They fall into comfortable silence, watching fireflies begin their nightly dance. Hagrid finds them like that an hour later, asleep back to back in the grass, Fang curled protectively around both of them. He drapes his moleskin coat over them carefully and lets them sleep under the stars. 2 wild children, marked by magic and the forest's approval, beginning a friendship that will reshape the wizarding world. They just don't know it yet. The summer Hermione turns 8 marks the beginning of what Hagrid calls proper training. Harry is 6 now, confident in the forest's edge territories, comfortable with most creatures. Hermione is newer, but learns with frightening speed, absorbing every lesson like a sponge absorbs water. Hagrid gathers them one morning in the clearing behind the hut. 2 roughly carved staffs lean against the fence, each about 4 feet tall, made from sturdy oak with leather grips wrapped around the middle. Right then, Hagrid says, "You've both been doing accidental magic for years now. Wild magic, the kind that talks to creatures and growing things. But it's time to start channeling it proper." With wands? Hermione asks eagerly. She's read about wands in the books Hagrid borrowed from the Hogwarts library. Eventually, yeah. When ye go to our Hogwarts at 11, you'll get proper wands from Ollivanders. But until then, we're using these. He picks up both staffs and hands them over. Staffs are older, giants used them before wands became popular, and they're better for the kind of magic I can teach ya. It's heavier than it looks, but feels right in his hands, like an extension of his arm. Why staffs instead of wands, he asks. Because I can't teach ye fine wand work. Me own wand's broken, been broken since I was expelled in 3rd year. Hagrid produces his pink umbrella. Got the pieces hidden in here, and it still works for simple stuff. But I never finished me education proper. Can't teach what I don't know. What can you teach us? Hermione asks. Always practical. What I do know. Practical magic. The kind that don't need fancy incantations or precise wand movements. The kind that works through intent and respect and understanding the world around ye. He demonstrates, plants his umbrella into the soft earth of the clearing and focuses. The air around him shimmers slightly, and the campfire nearby, currently just cold ash, flares to life. Fire starting, one of the first things I learned. Not with a spell, incendio's too advanced for what I got left in this umbrella. But with will. Askin' the fire ter come, givin' it fuel, believin' it'll answer. Harry and Hermione watch, fascinated. Now yet try. Plant your staff in the ground, both hands on it, feet bare. Ye need ter feel the earth. The grass is cool and slightly damp beneath their feet. Good. Now close your eyes. Feel the earth beneath ye. Feel how it holds ye up, how it's alive with roots and worms and all manner of growing things. Can you feel it? Harry nods slowly. There's a sensation, not physical exactly, but present. A hum of life beneath the surface. I feel it, Hermione whispers. It's like vibration, but not in my ears, deeper. The old magic. Every place has it, but it's strongest here at Hogwarts because the castle's been soaking magic into the ground for 1,000 years. Now, still holding that feelin', think about the fire, not casting a spell at it, just inviting it, politely. Harry focuses. He thinks about warmth, about light, about the comfort of fire on cold nights. He doesn't command, he asks. The fire flickers. Just once, barely noticeable, but definitely movement. Did ye see that? Hagrid's voice is excited. Harry, ye did it. I didn't do anything. It just moved. Ye asked, and it responded. That's wild magic. It's about partnership, not control. Her approach is different, more analytical, more precise. She thinks about combustion, about oxygen and fuel, and the chemical nature of fire, then translates that understanding into feeling. The fire roars to life, flames leaping 3 feet high. Everyone jumps back. Whoa! Hagrid waves his umbrella and the flames settle. Hermione, that was powerful. Too powerful, you gotta learn moderation. But the connection was perfect. I felt it, the fire wanted to burn. I just showed it where. Exactly, that's the gift. Now we practice control. Small fires, sustainable fires, fires that warm but don't destroy. Harry's flames are steady and warm, the kind you'd want in a campsite. Hermione's are intense and quick, the kind you'd use to boil water fast or signal for help. You've both got the knack, Hagrid says proudly, but this is just the start. Fire's one element, we'll work on air next, callin' wind, movin' mist. Then earth raisin' roots, softenin' soil, and through it all we'll be workin' on your beast speech. Beast speech? Harry perks up. Is that like Parseltongue? Similar, but different. Parseltongue's hereditary. You're born with it, or you're not, and it only works on snakes. Beast speech is learned. It's about understanding creatures well enough to communicate without words, through feelin', body language, magical empathy. Can anyone learn it? Hermione asks. Theoretically, yeah, but it takes years of practice and proximity to creatures. Most wizards don't bother. They'd rather cast a charm or use a translator spell. But ye two? You've got the gift already. I've seen it. We're just going to refine it. Over the next 4 years, the training intensifies. Age 6, Harry, and 8, Hermione. 1987. They learned staff fighting from Hagrid, who learned it from watching centaurs spar. It's not complex. He can't teach them advanced combat magic. But it's practical. How to block, how to strike, how to use a staff as a walking stick on rough terrain and a defensive tool when needed. Hogwarts teaches defensive magic, Hagrid explains. That's wands and shields and counterspells, important stuff. But if ye ever lose your wand, or it breaks, or ye outnumbered, knowing how to fight without magic can save your life. They practice on training dummies Hagrid constructs from hay and old clothes. They also begin learning creature languages in earnest. For Harry, this means spending time with every serpent in the forest. He doesn't have true Parseltongue. That's a gift that would only manifest later, connected to Voldemort's soul fragment. But he can learn to read snake body language, understand their needs, communicate through gesture and respect. This one's a common adder, Hagrid says, showing them a snake he's carefully captured and placed in a glass case. Watch how she moves. When she's relaxed, she coils loose. When she's threatened, she coils tight and raises her head. When she's hunted, she goes still as stone. Harry watches, memorizing every detail. Hermione focuses on mammals, particularly felines. A half-Kneasel named Crookshanks, part magical cat, part regular cat, has taken up residence near the hut. He's independent and suspicious of most humans, but he lets Hermione pet him. Cats communicate through tail position, Hermione explains to Harry one evening, having read extensively on the subject. Tail up means friendly, tail low means uncertain, tail puffed means scared or aggressive, and they use scent marking to claim territory. Does Crookshanks like you? I think so. He brings me dead mice sometimes. Hagrid says that's a sign of trust. Age 7, Harry, and 9, Hermione, 1988. The wild magic expands. They move beyond fire to other elements. Wind calling is Harry's strength. He learns to sense air currents, to feel where wind wants to flow, and to gently encourage it in useful directions. It's not dramatic. He can't summon hurricanes, but he can call a steady breeze to cool them on hot days, or direct smoke away from their faces around a campfire. Hermione excels at earthwork. She can convince roots to shift slightly, creating handholds on steep banks. She can soften soil to make planting easier, or harden it to stabilize a path. Small magics, but incredibly practical. It's not about power, Hagrid teaches them. It's about efficiency. Why blast a hole through a wall when ye can ask the stones to shift? Why burn down a tree when ye can convince it to bend its branches out of your way? Work with the world, not against it. They also begin studying with the Centaurs, cautiously at first. The Centaur herd tolerates Hagrid because he respects their territory and their autonomy. When he asks permission to bring the children to learn star reading, the Centaurs debate for 3 days before agreeing. Firenze, younger and more open-minded than herd leader Bane, becomes their primary teacher. The stars tell truths that earthbound creatures cannot see, Firenze says, his voice carrying the musical quality all centaurs possess. To read them is to understand fate, destiny, and the patterns that govern all things. He teaches them constellations, not just their names, but their meanings in centaur astrology. Mars for war, Venus for love, Saturn for limitation and structure, Jupiter for expansion and growth. When Mars burns bright near the moon, Firenze explains, it signals coming conflict. When Venus aligns with Jupiter, it speaks of alliances and new beginnings. Harry watches the stars themselves, trying to feel the patterns rather than just memorize them. They learn herbalism from Professor Sprout, who visits the hut periodically to check on Hagrid's projects. She's amused and impressed by what the children already know through hands-on experience. You've correctly identified knotgrass, dittany, and valerian, Sprout says, examining Hermione's collected samples. But you've also gathered devil's snare tendrils, which are quite dangerous. How did you harvest them without being strangled? We asked it to share, Harry says simply. Told it we'd help spread its seeds elsewhere if it gave us some vines. Sprout blinks, and the devil's snare agreed. It likes dark, damp places. We transplanted some of its seeds to a cave near the lake. Now it lets us harvest from the parent plant sometimes. That's remarkable. Most wizards simply force devil's snare to release using light or fire. You've made a bargain with it. Hagrid says bargains last longer than force, Hermione explains. Sprout nods slowly. Hagrid is wiser than many give him credit for. Age 8, Harry, and 10, Hermione, 1989. Their magic is becoming more sophisticated. Not powerful in the conventional sense. They still can't cast most standard spells, but versatile and deeply connected to their environment. Harry discovers he can project emotions into the space around him. When he's calm and confident, creatures sense it and relax. When he's frightened, nearby animals become skittish. He learns to weaponize this, projecting primal fear strongly enough to make a charging wild boar reconsider its attack and flee. That's presence magic, Hagrid explains. Giants do it naturally. We're so big and imposing that predators think twice before attacking. But you're doing it with magical pressure instead of physical size. It's advanced. Hermione develops what she calls sanctuary aura, the opposite of Harry's fear projection. When she focuses, She can create a bubble of calm so profound that injured or frightened creatures gravitate toward her. She uses this to approach wounded animals that would normally bite or flee. They rescue a young thestral together, a foal whose mother was killed by a desperate acromantula hunting too far from the colony. The foal is traumatized, lashing out with hooves and teeth at anyone who approaches. Hermione kneels 10 feet away and projects sanctuary. The foal stops thrashing, its milky white eyes fix on her. "You're safe," Hermione whispers. "We're not going to hurt you. We want to help." The foal, skeletal, bat-winged, visible only to those who've witnessed death, approaches cautiously. Hermione doesn't move, just maintains that feeling of absolute safety. When the foal is close enough, she reaches out slowly and touches its neck. The creature shivers once, then leans into her hand. "Good," Hagrid breathes. "Don't break the feeling, just hold it." He's good with creatures, but what Hermione just did, calming a traumatized magical beast through pure emotional magic, that's extraordinary. From that day forward, the thestral foal bonds to Hermione. Hagrid names her Shadow, and she follows Hermione around the forest's edge like a loyal dog. The other students will eventually see Shadow at Hogwarts and be unnerved by the skeletal creature. But to Harry and Hermione, she's family. Age 9, Harry, and 11, Hermione, 1990. The year of the Centaur judgment, Harry and Hermione have been exploring deeper into the forest. Always carefully, always with Hagrid's knowledge, but pushing boundaries. The Centaurs have watched this with growing concern. One evening, as the sun sets blood-red through the trees, Bane appears at the edge of Hagrid's clearing. "The boy and girl must come to the herd," he announces. "Tonight the stars demand it." Hagrid tenses. "Why? What's happened?" "The sacred groves, the star-watching meadow, these places are not for humans. They must answer for this." Bane's tail swishes dangerously. "Bring them at moonrise, or we will come for them." He vanishes into the trees. Hagrid sits heavily on his doorstep. "What will they do to us?" Harry asks, trying to sound brave. "I don't know. Could be they just want to scare you, make you promise or stay closer to the hut. Could be worse." Hagrid runs a hand through his tangled hair. "But we can't refuse. Refusing would insult the whole herd, and then they'd drive us out entirely. We didn't mean to trespass. We'll apologize and accept whatever judgment they give. You're braver than yes should be. We learned from you." At moonrise, they walk into the forest together, Hagrid carrying his umbrella, Harry and Hermione with their staffs. The path to the Centaur gathering grounds is marked by hoof prints and an occasional arrow carved into tree trunks. They emerge into a large clearing lit by starlight. 20 centaurs surround them in a semicircle, their expressions ranging from hostile to merely cold. Bane stands at the center, flanked by the herd's eldest members. Firenze is off to one side, his face troubled. "The humans have come," Bane announces, as demanded. An old centaur mare, gray-coated, her face lined with age, steps forward. "I am Sylvana. I read the stars for this herd." And the stars are conflicted. Harry and Hermione follow her gesture and see the night sky brilliant with constellations. "Mars burns bright," Sylvana continues. "War comes, darkness rises." And at the center of it all, she points directly at Harry, the boy marked by lightning. The stars speak of prophecy, of sacrifice, of great power walking a knife's edge between salvation and destruction. Harry touches his scar unconsciously, and the girl, Sylvana turns to Hermione, burns like a small sun. Knowledge and ferocity bound together. The stars say she will choose a path that breaks tradition. "What does that mean?" Hermione asks. "It means," Firenze says, stepping forward against Bane's disapproving glare, "that you are not ordinary human children. The forest recognizes you. You speak to creatures as equals. You practice the old magics. You respect the boundaries of life and death. These are not human traits. So what do we do with them?" Another centaur, young, aggressive, paws the ground. "They are still human. They will betray the forest eventually, as all humans do." "Not all humans. Hagrid has lived among us for decades without betrayal. These children were raised by him. They are different." The debate rages for an hour. Some centaurs argue for banishment, forbid the children from entering the forest entirely. Others argue for restriction, allow them only in designated safe zones. A few argue for death, though Hagrid's presence and the respect he's earned prevent that from gaining traction. Finally, Sylvana raises a hand for silence. The The stars offer a path, she says. We mark them. Make them heirs of the forest, not rulers, never that, but stewards. They will be permitted to walk our paths, to learn our ways, to speak with our creatures. In return, they will swear oaths to defend the forest, to never betray its secrets, to honor the balance of life and death. And if they break these oaths, Bane demands, then the forest itself will punish them. The oaths will be bound by magic. To break them would be to break themselves. Silence. Then slowly, centaurs begin to nod. I accept this, Firenze says. As do I, agrees another. One by one the herd consents. Bane is last. Very well. But I will watch them. If they falter, if they show even a hint of the corruption that plagues their kind, I will end this arrangement myself. Sylvana approaches Harry and Hermione. Kneel. The old centaur produces a bowl of ash mixed with something that glows faintly silver. Crushed unicorn horn, harvested from natural shedding, blessed under starlight. She dips her fingers in the mixture and marks Harry's forehead above his scar, drawing symbols he doesn't recognize. Then she does the same to Hermione. By earth and star, by hoof and horn, by the old pacts and the deep magic, we name you hares of the forest. You are not of the herd, but you are not strangers. Walk carefully. Listen deeply. Respect all life. These oaths you make with your blood and magic. Do you accept? Firenze asks gently. Yes, Harry and Hermione say together. The ash on their foreheads flares bright, sinking into their skin. For a moment, Harry feels the forest itself. Every tree, every creature, every drop of water and grain of soil, connected to him through invisible threads of magic. Then the sensation fades, but the connection remains, quieter but permanent. It is done, Sylvana announces. They are marked. The forest will know them. The centaurs disperse slowly. Some approach Harry and Hermione to examine the marks more closely. Others simply leave, their judgment passed. Firenze stays. You must understand what you've agreed to. The forest will test you. It will demand service when you least expect it. You are no longer merely visitors. You are part of something ancient. We understand, Hermione says, though Harry suspects she doesn't. Not fully. Neither of them do. But they will. On the walk back to the hut, the forest feels different, more alive, more aware. Trees seem to lean slightly toward them as they pass. Small creatures emerge from burrows to watch, unafraid. You've done something extraordinary, Hagrid says quietly. The centaurs don't mark outsiders, ever. You've been given a gift and a burden. Don't take it lightly. We won't, Harry promises. That night, they can't sleep. They lie in their cots. Harry's in the loft, Hermione's on the main floor, and talk through the darkness. Do you think we did the right thing? Hermione asks. I think we did the only thing. The centaurs were going to judge us one way or another. At least this way. We're still here. What if we can't keep the oaths? Then we'll find a way. We always do. Silence for a moment, then Hermione speaks again, voice small. Harry, I'm scared. About Hogwarts. About leaving the forest. Me too. What if we don't fit in? What if the other students think we're strange? They will think we're strange. We are strange. But maybe that's okay. Hagrid always said being different isn't bad. It's just different. I wish we could stay here forever. Just us and Hagrid and the creatures. We can't, though. We have to go to school, learn proper magic, make friends. What if I don't want other friends? What if I just want you and Hagrid? Harry thinks about this. Then that's okay, too. But we should try. For Hagrid. He wants us to have more than just the forest. I know. You're right. I'm scared. So am I. But we'll be scared together. Promise? Promise. They fall silent and eventually sleep, marked by centaur magic and bound to the forest in ways they're only beginning to understand. Outside, the forbidden forest rustles approval. 2 human children have been claimed by the wild, and the wild protects its own. The Hogwarts Express gleams at platform 9 3/4, steam hissing, hundreds of students boarding for the new school year. Parents hug children goodbye. Owls hoot from cages. First years look around with wonder and nervousness. Harry and Hermione don't arrive at King's Cross. They wake at dawn in Hagrid's hut, dress in their forest clothes, dragonhide vests over simple shirts, reinforced boots, cloaks woven from rough wool and lined with fur, and walk the path they've walked 1,000 times before. From the hut, around the lake, across the grounds, up toward the castle. They're already home, they're just moving into a different part of it. But the castle's inhabitants aren't prepared for them. Harry is 11 now, small for his age, but wiry, strong from years of forest work. His hair is wild and impossible to tame, his glasses held together with spellotape and twine. He carries his oak staff in one hand, worn smooth from years of use, and a trunk that Hagrid helped him pack with dragonhide clothes, carefully chosen books and small totems from forest creatures, a shed hippogriff feather, a smooth stone from the Centaur meadow, a bit of unicorn tail hair freely given. Hermione is almost 12, tall for her age, her bushy hair pulled back with a leather cord decorated with small carved bones, ethically harvested from the forest floor, she's always careful to explain. She wears similar dragon hide, her own staff slung across her back, and her trunk contains more books than clothes. Field journals filled with observations, star charts copied from Centaur lessons, botanical sketches, Crookshank's pads beside her, the half-Kneasel's lion-like tail swishing. Shadow, the young Thestral, follows at a distance, invisible to most, but tangible to Harry and Hermione. They enter the castle through a side entrance, avoiding the main crowds. Hagrid leads them. "Remember," he says quietly, "they're gonna stare. Can't help it. You look different, you smell different, you are different. But don't let it make you doubt yourselves. You're just as magical as any of them, more in some ways. But give them a chance. Most kids are decent once you get to know them." They reach the Great Hall just as the first years are being organized for the sorting ceremony. Professor McGonagall spots them and approaches, lips pressed thin. "Mr. Potter, Miss Granger, you were supposed to take the train." "Didn't see the point," Hermione says. "We already live here. The train is tradition. It allows students to socialize, to make friends before arriving." "We'll make friends here," Harry interrupts, "or we won't. Either way, we're not sorry." McGonagall looks like she wants to argue, but Dumbledore appears at her elbow. "Ah, Harry. Hermione, wonderful to see you. I trust Hagrid has prepared you adequately for your formal education?" "Yes, sir," they chorus. "Excellent. Then join the other first years. The sorting will begin shortly." They move to the back of the first-year group. Immediately, whispers start. "Is that Harry Potter? Can she see Thestrals? Look at those staffs. Are those allowed?" A red-haired boy turns around, staring openly. "You're Harry Potter. The Harry Potter. Blimey, I'm Ron Weasley." Harry nods politely. "Nice to meet you." "What's with the—" Ron gestures vaguely at Harry's entire appearance. "Everything? I was raised by Hagrid, in the forest. This is what we wear there." Ron's eyes go wide. "You lived in the Forbidden Forest, with the creatures. That's barmy. That's brilliant. My brothers are never going to believe this." A blond boy with a pointed face pushes forward. "Potter? Harry Potter? I'm Malfoy, Draco Malfoy. I heard you were special, but I didn't realize you were raised by a servant." The temperature in the corridor seems to drop. Harry's voice is very quiet. "Hagrid isn't a servant. He's my father in every way that matters. And if you insult him again, we're going to have a problem." "And what will you do? Hit me with your stick?" Hermione steps forward, and Crookshanks hisses, a sound that makes several students back away because the half-Kneasel's hiss sounds more like a small lion's growl. "We don't want trouble," Hermione says calmly, "but we don't accept disrespect either. Hagrid is a great man. If you're too ignorant to see that, that's your failing, not ours." Malfoy sneers. "A mudblood defending a half-breed. How touching." "I don't know what that word means," Hermione says, though her tone suggests she can guess it's not complimentary, "but I know an insult when I hear one." "We're done talking to you." She and Harry turn away deliberately. Malfoy looks furious, but before he can respond, McGonagall calls for silence. "First years, attention! We will now enter the Great Hall for the sorting ceremony. Please follow me in an orderly fashion. The doors open. The Great Hall is magnificent. 4 longhouse tables, floating candles, enchanted ceiling showing the night sky." But Harry and Hermione barely notice. They're too aware of the stairs. Every eye in the hall tracks them. The wild children in dragonhide and fur, carrying staffs, accompanied by a half-Kneasel and a Thestral only some can see. Whispers cascade through the tables. "Is that really Harry Potter? He looks like a savage. Merlin, he smells like the forest. Who's the girl? Why does she have an animal with her?" McGonagall begins calling names alphabetically. Harry and Hermione wait, knowing their turns will be separated. Granger before Potter. Granger, Hermione walks forward, Crookshanks staying obediently at the base of the stool. McGonagall allows it after a brief magical scan confirms he's not a threat. She sits, and the hat descends over her bushy hair. The conversation happens in her mind. Well, Miss Granger, or should I say, Hair of the Forest, the Centaur's marks glow bright on your magic. Most unusual. Brilliance, a mind that consumes knowledge like wildfire consumes dry wood. Ravenclaw would treasure you. You'd excel in the tower surrounded by those who value learning and wit. But you're not just intelligent, you're fierce. You've stood before Centaur courts and accepted their judgment without flinching. You've tamed creatures that would tear other children apart. You'd die to protect your pack, Harry, Hagrid, the creatures you've bonded with. That's Gryffindor courage. Structural, essential courage that goes beyond mere bravado. To those you love, to the forest, to the balance of nature, Hufflepuff would claim that loyalty gladly. Where should I go? Where will you do the most good? Where will your wildness challenge others to see the world differently? Hermione thinks of Hagrid's words. The other students won't understand yay at first. But if you're brave enough to be yourself, the right people will find you. Gryffindor. Put me where courage is valued, where I can defend what matters. The hat chuckles. A wild witch in the lion's den. Very well, but remember, you belong first to the forest, and only second to any house. Gryffindor. The Gryffindor table erupts in applause, though many students look uncertain. Hermione walks to the table, Crookshanks following, and sits near the end where there's space. Several more names pass. Then, Potter, Harry. The whispers intensify. Harry walks forward, plants his staff carefully against the stool. It stands on its own, balanced perfectly, and sits. The hat settles on his head. Harry Potter, I've waited 11 years to sort you. Your parents sat beneath me. James, pure Gryffindor. Lily could have been Ravenclaw, but chose Gryffindor for love. And you? You're both of them and neither of them. What do you see? You speak to beasts as equals. You've learned magic older than Hogwarts itself. You carry the Centaur's blessing and the forest's approval. You could be Slytherin, cunning, willing to use any advantage, ambitious in your desire to protect your pack. You could be Hufflepuff, loyal beyond question, dedicated to service and hard work. But what I see most clearly is courage. Not the flashy kind that seeks glory, the steady kind that stands between danger and those you love. You'd walk into fire for Hermione, for Hagrid, for any creature in the forest that needed protection. That's Gryffindor courage in its purest form. With Hermione? Harry asks. We stay together? You'll be in the same house, yes. But remember, your true pack transcends house boundaries. You're heirs of the forest before you're Gryffindors. Don't forget that. I won't. Then I have no doubt. A lion with a serpent's cunning and a forest's heart. Harry retrieves his staff and walks to sit beside Hermione. Ron Weasley, who was sorted into Gryffindor moments earlier, slides over to make room. Brilliant, Ron whispers. We're all in the same house. This is going to be amazing. Harry and Hermione exchange glances. They're not sure what amazing means in this context, but Ron seems genuinely friendly, so they give him tentative smiles. The sorting continues. Malfoy goes to Slytherin, as expected. When the final student is sorted, Dumbledore stands to give his welcome speech. But before he can speak, a Ravenclaw student raises her hand. Excuse me, Headmaster. Are staffs allowed? I thought we were supposed to use wands. An excellent question, Miss Clearwater, is it? Yes, staffs are allowed. They are, in fact, one of the oldest magical focuses known to wizard kind. Mr. Potter and Miss Granger have been trained in their use and will be permitted to carry them alongside their wands, which they will acquire shortly. That's because they've spent considerable time with animals, Dumbledore says mildly. They have been living on Hogwarts grounds, under the guardianship of our esteemed gamekeeper, learning care of magical creatures and wild magic techniques that few modern wizards study. I expect you all to treat them with the same courtesy you'd show any fellow student. He lets that sink in, then continues his usual welcome speech, warnings about the Forbidden Forest, the third-floor corridor, house points, Quidditch. But Harry and Hermione barely listen. They're too aware of the eyes still watching them, the whispers still circulating. This is going to be harder than we thought, Hermione murmurs to Harry. Yeah, but we knew it would be. At least we have each other. Always. The feast appears, mountains of food materializing on golden platters. Harry and Hermione eat carefully, using the manners Hagrid taught them, while Ron cheerfully explains everything about Hogwarts that they might have missed by not taking the train. So there's 4 houses, right? Gryffindor? That's us, the brave ones. Slytherin, the ambitious, cunning lot, bit of a dark reputation. Ravenclaw, the clever ones who love learning. And Hufflepuff, the loyal, hard-working bunch. Each house has its own common room, dormitories, and we earn points through good behavior and lose them for rule-breaking. Harry and Hermione led him, grateful for the information and the distraction from the stairs. After the feast, the Gryffindor prefects, Percy Weasley, Ron's brother, and a girl named Penelope, lead the first years to Gryffindor Tower. The common room is warm, decorated in red and gold, with comfortable armchairs and a roaring fireplace. It's beautiful, but it's not the forest. Boys' dormitory is up those stairs, Percy announces. Girls' dormitory is up those. Your trunks have already been brought up. Get settled, and remember, curfew is at 10 o'clock. No exceptions. Students scatter. Harry and Hermione linger by the fire. It's so enclosed, Hermione whispers. All these walls. I know, but we can visit Hagrid and the forest. We're not trapped. Right, yes. We're not trapped. They separate to their dormitories. Harry climbs the stairs to find 4 other beds. Ron's, Neville Longbottom's, Seamus Finnegan's, and Dean Thomas's. His trunk sits at the foot of his bed, staff leaning against the bedpost. The other boys are already unpacking. So, Seamus says carefully, you really lived in the forest? At its edge, yeah. With Hagrid? He's my guardian, has been since I was a baby. What's it like, the forest? Harry considers. Dangerous, beautiful, alive in a way cities aren't. The creatures there, they're not just animals. They're intelligent, they have societies, languages, rules. You just have to learn them. Wicked, Dean breathes. So you can actually talk to animals? Some. Depends on the animal. Hippogriffs understand body language and respect. Unicorns respond to purity of intent. Thestrals. He pauses. The Strowls are complicated. Can you see the Strowls? Neville asks quietly. Yeah. Can you? No, but my gran told me only people who've seen death can see them. That's right. Who died? I don't remember it, but the magic remembers. So I can see the Strowls. Then Ron, breaking the tension, well, I think it's brilliant. You're like a druid or something, from the old stories, living with nature and magic and creatures. That's so much cooler than growing up in a normal wizarding house. You think so? Definitely. I grew up with 6 siblings in a tiny house. You grew up with hippogriffs and centaurs. No contest. Harry smiles, small but genuine. Thanks. They finish unpacking and climb into bed. Harry lies awake for a long time, staring at the unfamiliar ceiling, listening to the unfamiliar sounds of other boys sleeping nearby. He misses the hut, misses Fang's snoring, misses the forest's rustle, but he also feels something new. These boys are strange to him, but they're trying. They're curious rather than hostile, except Malfoy, but Malfoy doesn't matter. Maybe Hagrid was right. Maybe he can make friends here. Maybe he can have the forest and Hogwarts both. In the girls' dormitory, Hermione is having similar thoughts. Lying in a 4-poster bed beside girls named Lavender Brown and Parvati Patil, who ask 1,000 questions about the forest and creatures and what it's like to live outside civilization. Shadow waits outside the castle, in the forbidden forest, knowing Hermione will visit tomorrow. Crookshanks curls at the foot of Hermione's bed, purring softly. And in Hagrid's hut, the gamekeeper sits by his fire and allows himself a moment of pride and terror in equal measure. His children are growing up, leaving the nest, entering a world that won't understand them. But they're together, they're strong, they're ready. He hopes. Hogwarts is overwhelming at first. The castle has 142 staircases, some of which move. Portraits talk and argue with each other. Ghosts drift through walls mid-conversation. Doors pretend to be walls and walls pretend to be doors, unless you ask them politely. Harry and Hermione navigate it all with the same skills they use in the forest: observation, patience, and respect. It's not that different from tracking, Hermione explains to Ron one morning as they walk to Transfiguration. In the forest, you learn to read signs, broken twigs, disturbed soil, animal tracks. Here, you read the castle. Which portraits are gossipy, which staircases move at what times, which shortcuts are actually safe. I never thought of it like that, Ron admits. You're dead clever, Hermione. It's just observation. Anyone could do it. No, they couldn't. Most people just memorize routes. You understand the castle like it's alive. Can't you feel it? The magic in the stones, The way the wards breathe, the awareness in the walls. Ron looks at her blankly. Never mind, Hermione says. Let's just get to class. Classes are a mixed experience. In Charms, Professor Flitwick is delighted when Harry and Hermione successfully levitate their feathers on the first try, not through traditional wand work, but through a hybrid approach. Fascinating, Flitwick squeaks, examining Hermione's technique. You're not just casting Wingardium Leviosa. You're asking the feather to rise while using the wand to channel intent. It's a form of intuitive magic I haven't seen in decades. He said magic works better when you work with things instead of commanding them. Though I must teach you the standard method as well. Some situations require precise wand movements and incantations, but your foundation is excellent. 5 points to Gryffindor. In Transfiguration, Professor McGonagall is initially skeptical when Harry and Hermione successfully transfigure their matches to needles on the first attempt using similar hybrid methods. Mr. Potter, Miss Granger, please demonstrate your technique again. They do. Harry holds his wand loosely, more like a focus than a tool, and speaks quietly to the match. You could be sharper, stronger. You have it in you. Then he taps it with his wand and says, Transfiguro, in a voice that's half spell, half request. The match becomes a needle, not just any needle, but one with a faint wooden grain still visible in the metal, as if it remembers being wood. McGonagall removes her glasses and cleans them. That should not work. The transformation should be complete, yet you've created a functional needle that retains aspects of its original form. This is unprecedented. Is it wrong? Harry asks. No. It's just unusual. Wandless magic theory suggests that partial transformations can be more stable in some cases. You've essentially negotiated with the match, rather than forcing it to change completely. She puts her glasses back on. I'll be watching your progress very carefully. And you'll need to learn traditional methods as well, but 5 points to Gryffindor for innovative spellwork. Potions is harder. Professor Snape sweeps into the dungeon classroom on their first day and immediately targets Harry. Ah, yes, Harry Potter, our new celebrity. Tell me, Potter, what would I get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood? Harry doesn't know the answer from a book, but he knows plants. Hagrid taught him. Asphodel is associated with death in some cultures. Wormwood is bitter, used in absinthe. Together, he thinks, a sleeping draught? Something to do with grief or sorrow? Snape's expression doesn't change. The draught of living death? Surprisingly close for someone who likely hasn't read their textbook? Let's try another. Where would you look if I told you to find me a bezoar? The stomach of a goat. It counteracts most poisons. And the difference between monkshood and wolfsbane? They're the same plant. Also called aconite. Highly toxic, used in the wolfsbane potion. Snape stares at him for a long moment, then turns away. It seems Hagrid taught you something useful after all. 1 point to Gryffindor for basic botanical knowledge. Don't expect favoritism in this class. I treat all students equally, poorly. Harry and Hermione exchange glances. That's probably the closest thing to praise they'll get from Snape. But the real challenge comes in late October. It's Halloween. The Great Hall is decorated with floating jack-o'-lanterns and live bats. The feast has just begun when Professor Quirrell, the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, bursts through the doors, turban askew, face terrified. Troll! In the dungeons! Thought you ought to know. He collapses. The hall erupts in panic. Dumbledore's voice, magically amplified. Silence! Prefects, lead your houses back to dormitories immediately. Teachers, follow me to the dungeons. Students scramble, but Harry grabs Hermione's arm. The troll's in the dungeons. That's where the Slytherin common room is. We should tell a teacher. There's no time. Come on. They break away from the crowd, Ron following without question. They run toward the dungeons, moving with the efficiency of people who've navigated the forest at night, fast, quiet, aware of their surroundings. They find the troll in a girl's bathroom, massive and stinking, swinging a club. A girl is screaming in one of the stalls. It's a Ravenclaw first year named Penelope who wandered down here crying after an argument with friends. Get her out, Harry shouts at Ron. Hermione, with me. Primal fear? Hermione asks. Together, now. It's emotional magic, amplified by years of practice and the wild magic that runs through their blood. They pour fear into the air, not the fear they feel, but predator fear. The fear that even massive creatures feel when something bigger and more dangerous is hunting them. The projection hits the troll like a physical force. It stops mid-swing, club wavering. Its tiny eyes widen. It's confused. These small things shouldn't be dangerous, but they feel dangerous. They feel like pack predators, like things that hunt in the dark. Like alpha predators the troll's instincts scream to avoid. The troll backs up. More, Harry grits out. Push harder. They increase the pressure. The troll's confusion turns to genuine fear. It drops its club and runs, crashing through the bathroom wall into the corridor beyond, then fleeing toward the dungeon's entrance, and ultimately back toward the forbidden forest where it came from. Professors arrive to find Harry, Hermione, and Ron standing in the wreckage, breathing hard. "What happened?" McGonagall demands. "The troll ran away," Hermione says simply. "We scared it." "You scared a mountain troll?" "We projected primal fear. It's a wild magic technique. The troll thought we were more dangerous than we actually are, so it fled." McGonagall looks at Dumbledore, who's examining the destruction with interest. "Remarkable," Dumbledore says quietly. "Presence magic at such a young age. Most adult wizards cannot sustain such a projection. You work together?" "Yes, sir. Combined effort is more powerful." "Quite right. 5 points to Gryffindor for creative problem-solving, though I must deduct 3 points for being in the dungeons against orders." After the professors leave, Ron stares at them in awe. "That was the most brilliant thing I've ever seen. You didn't even use wands. Can you teach me?" "Maybe. It takes years of practice, though, and you have to spend a lot of time with creatures to develop the feel for it." "Still, that was amazing. The troll incident cements their reputation. The wild children from the forest who can make trolls flee with nothing but presence and willpower. Students start approaching them with questions about creatures, about wild magic, about the forest. Harry and Hermione answer patiently, slowly building bridges to their classmates. By December, they're almost accepted. Not quite, they're still too strange, too different, too wild, but no longer outcast. Then comes the Philosopher's Stone. Hermione pieces it together through research. Nicholas Flamel, the alchemist, the three-headed dog Hagrid accidentally mentioned, the protections on the 3rd floor. Someone's trying to steal the stone, Hermione tells Harry and Ron in the common room one evening, and I think it might be Snape. Snape's not the type, Harry argues. He's mean, but he's not evil, I can tell. Same way I can tell when a hippogriff is dangerous versus just territorial. Snape's territorial, not dangerous. Quirrell, the defense professor, he's terrified of everything. Exactly. It's too perfect, too performed. I've seen real fear, in animals, in people. His isn't real. He's acting. They investigate carefully. By May, they're certain Quirrell is going after the stone. And if he succeeds, Voldemort returns. They go to Dumbledore first. He's not in his office. They try McGonagall. She's gone too, called away on urgent business by a fake message. It's a trap, Hermione says, to get the teachers away so Quirrell can steal the stone tonight. Then we stop him ourselves, Harry says. They descend through the trapdoor beneath Fluffy, the three-headed dog. But instead of using a harp or music charm, Harry and Hermione use beast speech. Harry approaches slowly, hands visible, projecting calm and respect. We need to pass. There's danger below. We're trying to protect something important. Fluffy, who Hagrid raised from a puppy and who recognizes the scent of the forest on Harry, considers this. Then, with 3 heads, he makes a decision. He shifts aside, allowing access to the trapdoor while remaining alert for actual threats. Good boy, Hermione whispers, scratching behind one enormous ear before they descend. The challenges below are designed to test different magical disciplines. Devil's snare in the dark chamber below. Instead of panicking or casting light immediately, Harry presses both hands to the vines and pushes a feeling into them. Gratitude for guarding this place. A promise to help them spread to better hunting grounds later if they release now. The devil's snare, confused by this unprecedented approach, slowly withdraws its tendrils. Flying keys in the locked chamber. Harry's seeker reflexes, honed by years dodging branches in the forest, let him catch the correct key in under 30 seconds, while Hermione uses wind calling to create helpful currents that slow the other keys. Giant wizard's chess. Ron plays brilliantly, but when it comes time for a sacrifice, Hermione disrupts the enchantment with a combination of transfiguration and wild magic, convincing the Stone Knight that it wants to move differently, that it can choose its own path. The chess set, confused by this philosophical attack on its programming, allows them to pass. They reach the final chamber. Quirrell stands before the Mirror of Erised, demanding it produce the stone. His turban is unwrapped, revealing a second face on the back of his head. Voldemort's face, pale and serpentine and terrible. "Potter," Voldemort's voice hisses. "How convenient. Come here, look in the mirror. Tell me what you see." Harry doesn't move. "You're possessing him. Quirrell isn't acting on his own. The fool gave himself to me willingly. Now, the mirror." Quirrell lunges, but before he can reach Harry, something unprecedented happens. The castle itself responds. Harry has lived on these grounds since infancy. His magic has been soaking into the earth, feeding the wards, becoming part of Hogwarts' foundation, and now, feeling Harry threatened in the castle's deepest chambers, Hogwarts reacts. The stone floor ripples. Roots that shouldn't exist this far from the forest punch through flagstones, wrapping around Quirrell's legs. "What?" Quirrell stumbles. Harry doesn't consciously call the roots, but he doesn't stop them either. He feels the castle, the grounds, the ancient magic of Hogwarts itself, recognizing him as family and responding to his need. Hermione joins him, planting her staff. Together, they channel, not attacking, but defending, creating a barrier of living stone and ancient magic that Quirrell cannot cross. When Quirrell tries to touch Harry, driven by Voldemort's commands, Lily's protection activates, merged now with Hogwarts' wards and the wild magic Harry has practiced for years. Quirrell's hands burn, not just the skin touching Harry, but his entire body. The protection spreads through him like fire, purging Voldemort's possession. Voldemort's shade screams and tears free, a dark mist that flees through the walls, seeking escape. Quirrell collapses, alive but unconscious. The roots withdraw, the stone floor settles. Harry sways, exhausted from channeling magic beyond his normal capacity. Hermione catches him. That was incredible. "You called the castle itself." "I didn't call it. It just answered." Dumbledore arrives moments later, silver beard singed from whatever fake emergency kept him away. He surveys the scene. Quirrell unconscious, the mirror intact, Harry and Hermione standing protectively with their staffs planted. "What happened here?" They explain. Everything: Quirrell's possession, Voldemort's demand, the castle's response. Dumbledore's expression is grave. "Voldemort fled. Then he will return, but not soon. And Harry, you've accomplished something remarkable. You've bonded with Hogwarts itself on a level most wizards never achieve. The castle recognizes you as one of its own." Is that normal? For you? Perhaps it is your normal. You were raised here, protected by its wards since infancy. You fed magic into its grounds for 11 years. The castle knows you. And when you were threatened in its heart, it defended you. Over the next few days, the school learns about Harry and Hermione's role in protecting the Philosopher's Stone. Their reputation shifts again, not just wild children, but heroes. But Harry and Hermione don't feel like heroes. They feel tired and worried. Voldemort is still out there, still a threat, and next time, he'll be prepared for wild magic. They spend the last weeks of term practicing harder, pushing their abilities further, preparing for the war they know is coming. The Chamber of Secrets opens in October of their second year. Students are petrified. Messages appear on walls in blood. The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air, beware. Harry hears whispers in the walls. Serpent whispers. Rip, tear, kill, hungry. So hungry, he tells Hermione immediately. There's a snake in the pipes. A big one, and it's being controlled, forced to hunt. How big? Very big. The voice echoes through the whole plumbing system, and it's in pain, angry and confused and hurting. Hermione researches obsessively, cross-references every mention of giant serpents in the library, reads restricted books with special permission, interviews older students about Hogwarts history. Then she's petrified, caught by the basilisk's reflection in a mirror she was using to look around corners. Harry finds her frozen body in the corridor outside the library, still holding her mirror and a page ripped from a book. On the page, one word is circled: basilisk. Something breaks inside Harry. He takes the page to Hagrid that night, barely holding himself together. Hermione figured it out. It's a basilisk, Salazar Slytherin's monster. Someone's controlling it, making it hunt Muggleborns. "How do ye stop a basilisk?" Hagrid asks, face grim. "I don't know, but I'm going to find it, and I'm going to make it stop. Harry, ye can't face a basilisk alone. I won't be alone. I'll have Ron, and I'll have whatever's left of Hermione's research, and I'll have this." He pulls out his staff, worn smooth from 2 years of constant use. That won't protect ye from a basilisk's gaze. I know, but it might let me talk to it. Talk to it. The ability to speak to snakes. I don't have it naturally, but I've been practicing snake speech for years. Maybe if I can communicate with the basilisk, I can reason with it, offer it something better than slavery. Hagrid looks at this 12-year-old boy who's faced down trolls and possessed professors and never once backed down from protecting others, and he makes a decision. Then I'm teaching everything I know about basilisks before you go. You're not walking into that chamber unprepared. They spend 3 days studying. Hagrid shares what he knows about serpent behavior, about how to avoid direct eye contact, about weak points in a basilisk's armor. The opening to the chamber is discovered when Harry accidentally speaks parseltongue to a snake carved on a bathroom sink. The ability manifests fully now, not learned snake speech, but true parseltongue, likely triggered by the piece of Voldemort's soul in his scar resonating with Slytherin's magic. Harry and Ron descend into the chamber together. The space is massive, ancient stone pillars carved with serpents, a statue of Salazar Slytherin towering over stagnant pools, and coiled around the statue's base, 60 feet of scaled death, the basilisk. Her eyes are closed. She's learned not to look directly at her prey after centuries of accidental kills. Beside her, manifesting from a diary lying on the floor, is Tom Riddle, a memory preserved in dark magic, 16 years old and coldly beautiful. Harry Potter, Riddle says, smiling. I was wondering when you'd arrive. Come to die like your mother? He speaks parseltongue, fluent now, the words flowing naturally. Sister of scales, ancient one. I hear your pain. Speaker? Speaker speaks true tongue. I speak true tongue. I am called Harry. I know forest. I walk with creatures. I see your chains. Riddle's smile falters. What are you doing? Master forces you. Master causes pain. Master makes you hunt your will broken. I know this wrong. Must obey, must obey. Master commands. Master is shadow. Master is memory trapped in object. Master has no power except what you give. The basilisk shifts uncertain. For 1,000 years, she's been commanded by Slytherin's heirs. Obeying is all she knows. Harry takes a step closer, arms spread, no weapon visible. I offer choice. The chamber goes utterly silent. Choice 1, continue slavery. Obey Shadow Master, hunt until you die in these stones. Never see sun, never taste freedom. Choice 2, defy Shadow Master. Choose your own path. I offer you the forest, deep places where sun reaches. Prey that runs, space to live as you were meant to live. Only you can harm yourself by choosing chains. The basilisk lowers her massive head until it's level with Harry's face. She could kill him with a single strike, open her eyes and kill him with a glance. Instead, she speaks, How do I trust small speaker? Harry touches his scar, feeling the fragment of Voldemort there. Part of wrong master lives here. I carry poison I did not choose. I understand chains more than you know. Tom Riddle realizes what's happening. No, I command you, kill him. The basilisk's eyes snap open, but she doesn't look at Harry. She looks at Tom Riddle's memory form, and her gaze is full of 1,000 years of rage. No more commands. I choose small speaker. I choose freedom. Riddle screams at her, tries to force control through the diary, but the basilisk has made her choice. She strikes at the manifestation, fangs passing harmlessly through the magical projection, but shattering the psychic connection. Harry runs for the diary, ignoring Ron's shouts. He grabs it and holds it up. Your fang. I need it to destroy this chain object. She opens her mouth, angles her head carefully, and allows Harry to pull one fang free. It hurts her. Venom leaks from the socket and she hisses in pain. But she holds still, accepting this cost for freedom. Harry drives the fang through the diary. Black ink sprays like arterial blood. Riddle's memory screams, a sound of pure rage and despair, then dissolves into nothing. The diary crumbles to ash. The basilisk shudders as the control breaks completely. For the first time in 1,000 years, her mind is entirely her own. But the venom from the extracted fang is poisoning her. The wound is too deep, too close to her brain. She's dying. Harry kneels beside her massive head, tears streaming. I'm sorry. Not supposed to kill you, supposed to free you. You did free me. First choice in 1,000 years. Better die free than live chained. I'll take your bones to forest, deepest, darkest place. Ancient roots, you'll rest properly, I promise. Promise accepted. The basilisk's breathing slows. I give blessing. When small speaker needs serpent strength, call my shadow. I will answer. Ron finds him there 10 minutes later crying over a dead monster 60 feet long, speaking parcel-tongue apologies to her cooling body. Harry, we need to go. We need to tell someone. Not yet. We need to take her fang, and we need to promise her that her bones go to the forest. They do both. The aftermath is complicated. Dumbledore is disturbed that a 12-year-old faced a basilisk and won through negotiation rather than violence. The Ministry is alarmed that the Chamber of Secrets was real, and that Voldemort left behind Horcruxes, pieces of his soul hidden in objects. But Hermione and the other petrified students are revived. The basilisk's body is respectfully transported to the Forbidden Forest's deepest sinkhole, where Harry performs a simple ceremony with the Centaurs watching in approval. And from that day forward, Harry carries the basilisk's blessing. In moments of extreme danger, he can call a spectral echo of her, a ghostly serpent 60 feet long that terrifies dark creatures and gives him strength beyond his years. It's not a Patronus. It's something older, wilder, and more dangerous. By their 3rd year, Harry and Hermione's reputation has spread beyond Hogwarts. The Ministry of Magic is concerned. 2 students practicing wild magic and beast speech and commanding creatures through loyalty rather than force. It's unprecedented, dangerous, potentially revolutionary. Cornelius Fudge, Minister for Magic, visits Hogwarts in December of 3rd year under the pretense of discussing Sirius Black's escape from Azkaban. But his real agenda becomes clear when he requests a private meeting with Harry and Hermione in Dumbledore's office. Mr. Potter, Miss Granger. Fudge sits behind Dumbledore's desk like he owns it, bowler hat perched on his knee. I've been hearing remarkable things about your education. We attend Hogwarts like everyone else, Hermione says carefully. But you also practice magic that most wizards have never heard of. Wild magic, beast speech, creature command. These are not standard curriculum. They're not forbidden either, Harry points out. No, but they're concerning. Magic that operates outside traditional structures, that bypasses ministry oversight. Surely you understand why that makes people nervous. We're not hurting anyone. We're working with creatures respectfully, learning old traditions, expanding our understanding of magic. That should be celebrated, not feared. But where does it lead? If every student started practicing wild magic, rejecting wand work and formal spells, how would the ministry regulate magical society? How would we maintain order? Maybe the question, Harry says quietly, is why you need to regulate magic so strictly. Magic isn't owned by the ministry. It exists in the world, in creatures, in nature, in old traditions. We're just learning to work with it instead of trying to control it. Fudge's expression hardens. That kind of thinking is dangerous, Mr. Potter. It undermines the structures that keep our society stable. Or it reveals that those structures are more fragile than you'd like to admit. The meeting ends badly. Fudge leaves making vague threats about necessary oversight and protective measures. 2 weeks later, Aurors arrive to audit Hagrid's teaching methods and inspect the Forbidden Forest for unauthorized magical creatures. The forest does not respond well. Paths twist, leading Aurors in circles. Centaurs rain warning arrows, not lethal shots, but close enough to send a message. Acromantulas cut off retreat routes. Even the trees seem hostile, branches shifting to block passage. When the Aurors try to force their way deeper, the forest retaliates properly. Grop, Hagrid's half-giant brother, who Harry and Hermione have been helping to socialize for 2 years, appears from the undergrowth, 15 feet tall and carrying a tree trunk like a club. Aurors bad? Grop asks Harry in his simple English. Yes, they're trying to hurt the forest. Grop stop them? He does. Non-lethally, but definitively. The Aurors retreat in panic, reporting back to Fudge that the Forbidden Forest is actively hostile and under the control of dangerous elements. Fudge begins a whisper campaign. Dumbledore is raising a wild army at Hogwarts. The Forest Heirs are dangerous radicals who could destabilize magical society. Harry Potter isn't the hero everyone thinks. He's being corrupted by dark, primitive magic. Public opinion shifts. Some wizards defend Harry and Hermione. Others call for them to be removed from Hogwarts, trained properly at the Ministry, kept under control. The tension escalates through fourth year. The Triwizard Tournament provides both opportunity and danger. Harry is entered against his will. Someone puts his name in the Goblet of Fire, binding him to compete. But unlike other timelines, Harry approaches the tasks with wild magic advantages. First task dragons. Harry doesn't try to outfly or outmaneuver the Hungarian Horntail. Instead, he approaches her the way Hagrid taught him, with respect and careful communication. He enters the arena wearing dragon-hide armor, carries no wand, just his staff, walks slowly toward the dragon while projecting calm and non-aggression. The Horntail, confused by this unprecedented behavior, doesn't immediately attack. She's protecting her eggs, yes, but the small human isn't moving like prey or like threat. Harry uses a combination of body language and rudimentary dragon speech. Not true language, but emotional projection and gesture that conveys, "I respect your territory. I seek only the golden egg, which is not yours. I mean no harm to your clutch." When he needs to physically bypass her, he uses earth magic to create mud barriers between himself and the dragon, slowing any potential charge while demonstrating he's not trying to steal her actual eggs. He retrieves the golden egg and backs away without breaking eye contact, never showing fear or aggression. The crowd is silent, then erupts. He negotiated with the dragon. No weapons, just presence. The judges are divided. Karkaroff gives low marks for not displaying magical skill, but Dumbledore gives full marks for demonstrating profound magical understanding beyond conventional spellwork. Second task, the lake. Hermione helps Harry prepare by introducing him to the lake's creatures. She's been building relationships with the giant squid and the merpeople for years. When Harry uses gillyweed to breathe underwater, he doesn't fight Grindylows. He projects calm at them and makes hand gestures the merpeople taught him. Passing through, no threat, seeking friends below. The Grindylows, confused but not actively threatened, let him pass. He reaches the merpeople's village and negotiates for the hostages. Ron and Hermione herself, who Dumbledore placed there without consulting her, much to her fury later. Instead of just grabbing and swimming, Harry speaks with the merpeople in halting Mermish, promising future cooperation between Hogwarts students and lake creatures. Offering to advocate for their rights in wizard society, the merpeople are so shocked by this respectful approach that they release all the hostages, not just the required ones. Third task, the maze and the graveyard. Harry and Cedric Diggory reach the cup together. When they touch it and are portkeyed to the graveyard, Harry's combat experience with wild magic gives him advantages. Wormtail begins Voldemort's resurrection ritual. Bone of the Father, unknowingly given, Harry, bound to the gravestone, reaches out with earth magic, asking the soil beneath him for help, for strength, for connection. The earth answers. Not dramatically, there are no earthquakes, but Harry feels it. The Hogwarts grounds are miles away, but the land remembers him. The wild places know his name. When Wormtail approaches with the knife to take blood of the enemy, Harry's scar erupts with pain. But through the pain, he maintains that connection to the earth, to the wild magic, to everything Hagrid taught him. Voldemort rises from the cauldron. Pale, serpentine, terrible. Harry Potter, we meet again. This time, you will not escape. The duel is brief and brutal. Voldemort attacks with killing curses and dark spells. Harry defends with wild magic, calling roots to intercept curses, using wind to deflect projectiles, projecting presence so overwhelming that even some Death Eaters hesitate. But he's 12. Voldemort is the most powerful dark wizard in history. Harry is outmatched. Then Cedric, who everyone forgot about in the chaos, hits Voldemort with a stunning spell from behind. It doesn't stop Voldemort, but it disrupts his focus long enough. "Run!" Harry shouts. He grabs Cedric, summons the cup portkey with Accio, and they vanish just as Voldemort's next curse strikes where they were standing. They reappear in the Hogwarts maze, gasping and bleeding but alive. "He's back," Harry announces to the stunned crowd. "Voldemort's back. I saw him, fought him. He's got Death Eaters gathering. War is coming." The wizarding world splits. Some believe him, some call him a liar. Fudge, desperate to maintain control, insists Voldemort can't have returned. But in the Forbidden Forest, the creatures know truth when they hear it. They begin preparing. The wild army that Fudge feared, it's real, and it's readying for war. The war comes to Hogwarts in their 7th year, but the preparation began years earlier. Throughout 5th and 6th years, while Voldemort gathers Death Eaters and the Ministry fumbles ineffectively, Harry and Hermione build alliances. They work with Grop until he can communicate in full sentences and understand complex instructions. They negotiate treaties with the Acromantula colony. Spiders will fight for Hogwarts in exchange for protected territory after the war. They train with Centaurs, learning battlefield tactics and star reading to choose optimal moments for engagement. They work with Thestral herds, who agree to serve as aerial cavalry. When Voldemort finally attacks Hogwarts in May of 7th year, he expects resistance from wands and shields and conventional magic. He gets the Forbidden Forest. Act 1, the summoning Harry walks into the deepest part of the forest alone, barefoot, wearing only his dragon hide vest and carrying his staff. He's 19 now, tall and strong from years of forest life. Behind him, Hogwarts prepares defenses. But Harry knows walls and wards won't be enough. They need something more. He reaches the heart of the forest, the place where the oldest trees grow, where magic runs deepest. Plants his staff, kneels, presses both hands to the earth. "I'm calling in every debt," he says aloud in English, then repeats it in Parseltongue, in rudimentary Centaur dialect, in the wordless language of wild magic. "Everyone I've helped, everyone I've protected, everyone I've offered freedom to, I need you now. Voldemort comes to destroy the forest and everything in it. Will you stand with me?" the forest answers. Grop arrives first, kneeling so Harry can rest a hand on his brother's brow. Harry needs help. Yes, the bad wizard is coming. He wants to burn the forest and kill everyone in it. Grop help Harry. Grop smash bad wizard. Centaurs emerge from the trees. Firenze at the lead, but even Bane has come, driven by celestial omens that show fire consuming the forest if they don't fight. The stars show 2 paths, Firenze says, one where Hogwarts falls and the forest burns, one where the wild rises and the dark is broken. We choose the second path. We will fight. The Stressels circle overhead, skeletal, beautiful, led by Shadow, who's grown massive over 7 years. Hermione's bond with her is so strong that Shadow will follow her into battle without hesitation. From the darkness, Aragog's children skitter forward. The original Aragog died years ago, but his offspring remember Harry and Hermione bringing food during lean times, treating them as intelligent beings rather than pests. We fight, one clicks. For Forest, for Hagrid's children. Even the unicorns appear, not to fight, but to lend their blessing. The lead mare touches her horn to Harry's forehead, transferring a fragment of unicorn resilience. Harry and Hermione perform a joint ritual at the clearing's center, both pressing staffs into the earth, both speaking in unison. We vow to defend all who walk, crawl, fly, and root under this canopy. We vow to protect the balance. We vow to be guardians, not masters. We ask the forest, will you stand with us? Green gold light erupts from their joined staffs, racing through roots, surging up through trees, pouring toward Hogwarts. The castle's wards flare with living vines. Windows bloom with sudden growth. Ancient Hogwarts magic merges with wild forest magic. Voldemort, approaching with his Death Eater army, feels it and hesitates for the first time. Something is wrong. This isn't how sieges work. Act 2. The battle for the edge. Voldemort's forces attack at dawn. Death Eaters, giants, Dementors, dark creatures he's enslaved through Imperius and terror. The forest doesn't wait for them to reach the castle walls. It attacks first. Aerial assault. Shadow leads the Thestral charge. 50 skeletal forms diving from the sunrise, their bone wings cutting through Death Eaters on brooms. Hermione coordinates from the astronomy tower, shouting directions while projecting wild magic images directly into Shadow's mind. These targets, these allies, safe corridors marked in gold. Death Eaters scatter, unable to fight effectively against creatures only half of them can see. Ground war, Centaurs rain arrows from the tree line. Not random volleys, but precision shots guided by star readings. They've mapped the battlefield through celestial patterns, knowing exactly where Death Eaters will move before they move there. When Voldemort's giants advance, Grop wades into battle swinging a tree trunk. He's not alone. 3 other giants, freed from Voldemort's control by promises of territory and respect, fight alongside him. The wolves Harry bonded with, now a pack 20 strong, use coordinated tactics to separate and disorient Death Eaters, driving them into kill zones where Hogwarts defenders wait. The Acromantula surge, most terrifying of all. Aragog's children pour through secret tunnels beneath Hogwarts, emerging in corridors and halls. They don't kill indiscriminately, Harry made them promise, but they disarm, disable, and terrify with ruthless efficiency. Death Eaters who relied on fear find themselves facing creatures that are truly fearsome, that hunt in darkness, that remember every slight against the forest. Dementor defense. When Voldemort's Dementors sweep toward the castle, Harry and Hermione stand together on the battlements. They don't cast Patronuses. They cast something older, drawing on every moment of love and life they've ever experienced. Hagrid's embrace, the forest's eternal embrace, every creature saved, every friend made. They project pure wild magic. The spectral basilisk appears first, called by Harry's blessing. 60 feet of ghostly serpent coiling around Hogwarts towers, its presence a reminder that even death can choose freedom. Then come spectral wolves, great cats, hippogriffs, every creature Harry and Hermione have bonded with, manifesting as light and life and fierce protection. The combined projection hits the Dementor wave like dawn breaking over darkness. The Dementors flee. Simply flee, because what Harry and Hermione have created isn't just happiness, it's the fundamental assertion that life, in all its wild glory, triumphs over death and emptiness. Act 3, Heartwood and Sacrifice. As the battle rages, Voldemort isolates Harry, calls him forward, demands single combat. Harry walks to meet him through the forest, creatures lining his path. Centaurs bow their heads. Thestrals dip their wings. Even Acromantulas pause in respect. Voldemort stands in a cleared space, wand raised, surrounded by his remaining Death Eaters. Harry Potter, the boy who won't die. Let's end this? Agreed. The duel is everything and nothing like prophecy suggested. Voldemort attacks with pure wand magic, killing curses, fiend fire, every dark spell in his arsenal. Harry doesn't match him curse for curse. Instead, he channels. He presses his staff into the earth and calls the forest. Roots punch through the ground, intercepting curses. Trees bend impossibly, using their own mass as shields. The very soil rises to absorb dark magic, transforming it into harmless light. "You cannot defeat me with parlor tricks," Voldemort screams. "I'm not trying to defeat you with tricks," Harry says calmly. "I'm asking the land to reject you. You've taken life, twisted it, corrupted it. The wild doesn't accept corruption. It purges." He pushes harder. The forest responds. Branches wrap around Death Eaters, not crushing, but restraining. Roots trip and tangle. Wind rises, carrying the scent of growing things, of life that refuses to be dominated. Hermione appears at Harry's side, Crookshanks beside her, shadow overhead. She plants her own staff. Together, she asks. Always, they channel as one. Everything they've learned, everything they've become. The wild magic courses through them and into the land. Voldemort fires the killing curse. Harry and Hermione don't dodge. They root. The curse hits a wall of living wood that rises from the earth. A tree growing faster than should be possible, fed by wild magic and ancient power. The curse shatters against it. "No," Voldemort's composure cracks. "That's impossible. You still don't understand," Harry says. "Magic isn't about power. It's about connection. You broke every connection you ever had. To other people, to the land, to life itself. You made yourself isolated, alone. That's why you'll lose." Ron appears on Harry's other side, wand raised. "You're outnumbered, mate." Then Neville, sword of Gryffindor in hand. And outclassed. Then Luna, Dean, Seamus, Ginny, all the students who followed Harry into the wild, who learned that different isn't wrong, that old magic has value. And behind them, the creatures. Grap, the centaurs, the wolves, the acromantulas keeping their distance but present. Voldemort looks around and sees himself surrounded not by an army, but by a community, united not by fear, but by choice. He tries to flee, turns to apparate, and finds he can't. The forest has claimed this ground, made it sacred. Apparition is blocked. In desperation, he casts Avada Kedavra directly at Harry. But Harry isn't standing alone. Hermione's hand grips his. The staff in his hand connects him to 10,000 trees, to creatures beyond counting, to magic older than Hogwarts itself. The curse rebounds, not because of prophecy or blood magic, but because the entire forest rejects Voldemort's death magic. The land itself says no. Tom Riddle falls. And this time, with all his Horcruxes destroyed, Harry and Hermione hunted them methodically over 6th and 7th years. He dies truly, permanently. The forest's magic surges one final time, not destructive, but healing. Roots that were weapons retract gently. Trees that bent as shields straighten and bloom. Even Death Eaters bound by branches are released unharmed, given the choice to surrender or flee. Most surrender. 10 years later, Platform 9 3/4 bustles with families seeing children off to Hogwarts. But off to one side, away from the crowds, two figures stand with a small group of children. Harry Potter, now 2'9", tall and lean with his perpetual messy hair silvered at the temples. He wears comfortable clothes, not quite formal robes, not quite his old dragon hide, but something in between. His staff, worn smooth as glass, leans against his shoulder. Hermione Granger Weasley, 29, Minister of Magic for 3 years running, having revolutionized magical creature rights and formally recognized wild magic as a legitimate magical discipline. She holds hands with a young girl, Rose, while her son Hugo clings to Ron's hand. Ron is there too, now head Auror, grinning at something Neville herbology professor just said. But the most striking thing is the creature escort, Shadow. Now the matriarch of Hogwarts' ancestral herd stands visible to far more people than she used to be. The war made death common enough that most adults can see her. Crookshanks, ancient and dignified, sits at Hermione's feet, and two young wolves, descendants of Harry's original pack lounge, nearby, completely unconcerned by the staring crowds. "Are you sure about this?" Ron asks Harry. "Sending them to Hogwarts instead of, I don't know, continuing their forest education?" The forest teaches one kind of wisdom, Hogwarts teaches another. Together, they make something new. A young boy, James Sirius Potter, Harry's eldest, bounces excitedly. "Dad, will the Sorting Hat put me in Gryffindor?" "I don't know." "Where do you want to go?" "Wherever you went." "Then tell the hat that. It listens to what you want, as long as you want it for the right reasons." "What are the right reasons?" "That's for you to figure out." Hermione kneels beside Rose. "Remember what we taught you. Respect the creatures. Listen to the forest when you visit Uncle Hagrid. And don't let anyone tell you that wild magic is inferior to wand magic. They're different, both valuable. Can I learn both? You'd better. We didn't reform magical education just so you could ignore half of it. The Hogwarts Express whistles. Time to board. Harry hugs James, then his daughter Lily. Be brave. Be kind. And if anyone gives you trouble about your family, remember, we won a war. They can handle a little wildness. The children board, the train departs. Harry and Hermione watch until it disappears, then turn toward the exit. They're not going home immediately. They have work. The Forbidden Forest needs new wards on the eastern boundary, Hermione says, consulting notes. And the Centaurs requested a meeting about expanded territory, and Grapp wants help building a proper dwelling, Harry adds. Something more permanent than his cave. We'll handle all of it tomorrow. Today, she grins. I want to visit Hagrid, have tea, eat rock cakes, and pretend they're edible. Perfect. They apparate directly to Hogsmeade, then walk the familiar path to Hagrid's hut. It's been expanded over the years, still rough and warm but larger, with a proper workshop and guest quarters. Hagrid emerges when he hears them coming, now in his 70s but still massive, still smiling. "Harry, Hermione, come in, I've got fresh rock cakes." They spend the evening around his fire, drinking tea, sharing stories about their children, discussing forest management and creature welfare. At sunset, Harry and Hermione walk to the forest edge together. The trees rustle greeting, not threatening, not warning, but welcoming. Harry lifts his hand, branches shift in response, bending gently as if bowing. Hermione projects calm into the forest, and a wave of contentment flows back. Approval from every creature that calls this place home. "We did it," Hermione says quietly. "Changed everything. The Ministry recognizes wild magic. Magical creatures have legal rights. The forest is protected. We started it," Harry corrects. "The work continues. But yeah, we changed the conversation. Proved that different isn't dangerous. That old magic has value. That the wild and the civilized can coexist." They stand in comfortable silence. Two people who grew up strange and wild and loved, who became exactly what the wizarding world needed, even if it didn't know it at the time. "Do you ever regret it?" Hermione asks. "Growing up the way we did? Being different?" Never. Do you? Not for a second. Good. Because I wouldn't change anything. Me neither. The forest rustles one more time. Deep. Approving. Eternal. And somewhere in the undergrowth, a young hippogriff bows to no one in particular, just practicing the respect it's been taught by creatures who learned from two human children, who learned from a half-giant with a whole heart. The wild endures. The forest protects its own. And Harry Potter and Hermione Granger, heirs of the forest, keepers of the ancient ways, walk back toward the castle that's home, surrounded by creatures who chose them as surely as they chose the creatures. Let us know what you'd like to see next. The end.